I, 28 female, have been married to my husband, Cam, 32, for 2 years, and we've been together for 4 in total. He was a friend of my older brother, so I've known him even longer. Kim and I decided to try for a baby, and I'm currently 20 weeks with our first. When we told my mother-in-law the news, she mentioned that every woman in the family had a son before they had a daughter, so she thought the baby would be a boy. Kim and I told her we didn't care what we were having, we just wanted a happy and healthy child. Well, I'm having a girl, and we informed my mother-in-law of this earlier in the evening. Kim and I weren't on board with the idea of a huge dramatic gender reveal, so we just decided to go with casual announcements. Mother-in-law immediately seemed upset at this, and she told me that next time I needed to try harder to give my husband a son. I laughed and I said I didn't really have much choice in the matter, so if and when we have another child, there's nothing I could do to make sure we had a boy then either. She said that it was a fault on my end because she had a boy first. She had all boys, and all of her other sons' wives had boys first. So that meant I was the odd one out. Kim told his mom that he didn't care about having a son or not, and that she needed to stop blaming me for something that couldn't possibly be my fault. Still, she started getting onto him about how he should want a child that can carry on the family name instead of a daughter that'll just be given away. The whole thing was ridiculous, so I told her that once she looked into getting a refresher course and reading up on basic biology she should have learned in the 6th grade, she's free to give me a call and apologize for being ridiculous. My husband and I left after that, and in the car he said that while he understood my frustration, he didn't appreciate me speaking to his mother like that because I implied that she was an idiot. I told him that I didn't appreciate how she spoke to me and that he should be upset on our daughter's behalf since his mom seems to think less of our child before she's even born. The rest of the car ride was silent. Honestly, we hadn't talked since returning home. He did defend me to her, so I know he's on my side, but I know he wouldn't have brought up the way I spoke to her unless he thought it was out of line. I feel like a bit of an idiot now, and I'm not sure if I should apologize to her or not. Not the idiot. As one of 2 daughters, tell your husband he needs to step up now, because this will not be the last time someone outright says he should want a boy and that daughters are worthless. That's what your mother-in-law said. Daughters get given away? Your daughter can have any name she wants, have any career she wants, and choose who her family will be. This is a hill to wage war on, Mama. Bear up. Your daughter needs you. Mother-in-law's talking like a British monarch in the 1800s. It's always interesting how families with a culture like girls are worthless, men must pass on the family name, have nothing going for them. Like, there's nothing incredible about their genes besides how full of themselves they are. You can't imply someone's an idiot after they've already outed themselves as one. OP, you were not rude, and it's true. If she knew basic biology, she would know that the male's part determines the gender of the baby. There's nothing a woman can do. You probably hit a sore spot for your mother-in-law and your husband when you pointed out that she was uneducated. She's trying to make you feel inadequate, that you couldn't give them a grandson, which is out of line. Honestly, I wouldn't have been as nice as you. I would have brought out some Google, made sure the text was in a large font, and showed her the science. At this rate, I hope you have all girls, LOL. I, 35 female, should start by acknowledging that 10 years ago, I was a huge idiot. Like, unquestionably, I had a drinking problem and treated the folks around me terribly, including my ex-boyfriend. I'm sober 4 years now, working my program and trying to put better things into the universe. I recently started my first relationship while sober, and things are going well. We're about 3 months in, and he, 35, knows I'm in recovery and that I had a lot of folks to make amends to in my life. A couple of weeks ago, we took a small step into being more serious when he invited me to a college friend's wedding, where I would get to meet many of the folks he went to school with. His friend was the bride. We were getting ready at his apartment on the day of the wedding, and I saw on the invite that the groom's name was similar to my ex's. I didn't put the pieces together because my ex has an extremely common name. Think Bob Smith or Steve Jones level common. And the invite used a variation of the first name that's not what he went by when we were together. I also thought my ex had moved across the country after things ended between us. If you see where this is going, it was clearly a mistake on my part. We showed up at the church and sat with my boyfriend's friends on the bride's side. We had arrived before most people settled into their seats, and I didn't see anyone I recognized at the time, so I relaxed a bit and chatted with the folks near us. When I heard the music for the ceremony starting, I looked forward and saw that the groom was my ex, and it was too late to leave quietly. I put my head down and tried to be as non-conspicuous as possible, but he saw me because he turned as white as a ghost. I told my boyfriend the 30-second version of what happened, and he agreed we would skip the reception. When the ceremony ended, we tried to exit quietly, but my ex saw me on the way out of the church and got super angry, called me all sorts of names, and said I ruined his wedding by being there. The bride was just silently shooting daggers next to him the whole time. I just kept apologizing and saying it was a mistake, but I've spent the last week agonizing over whether I should have been more careful or double-checked before just showing up. I'm also trying to figure out if I should send a gift or a card or something, apologizing again and explaining what happened. Before realizing the groom was my ex, I had contributed to the gift my boyfriend gave, but didn't send anything separately. Not the idiot. I mean, you didn't intentionally go to his wedding. Also, it was 10 years ago. Why is this guy ruining his wedding for it? He could have just ignored you and let you leave. Or whispered to the best man to tell you to leave instead of making a scene and upsetting his current wife. If she traumatized him, it doesn't work like that. I've dated someone like OP, and if I saw him again after his actions, I couldn't promise I'd be rational on a highly emotional day. I honestly might throw up on a spot. I think I could refrain from an outburst, but I'd probably cower behind my husband until someone got him to leave. There's a 100% chance he would be removed from the wedding, and a 100% chance I'd be some form of upset upon seeing him there. There's a non-0% chance that I'd freak out. Send an email or text to your ex that starts with the line, "I promise I will not contact you again. I just wanted to apologize and explain myself." Explain that you're in recovery, and part of that is admitting that you were terrible to your boyfriend in the past, and you apologize for that. Explain that you attended the wedding as a guest of your new boyfriend and had no idea it was his until you saw him. You don't even need to admit you saw the invitation or anything. Less is more here. Tell him you're so sorry for this terrible coincidence that brought him pain on his big day. You wish him and his new wife nothing but happiness. I disagree. OP's boyfriend should pass on the apology to the bride. Just a brief sorry, we had no idea sort of thing. I've been the wronged party before. Let me tell you, apologies are not for the victim. Apologies are to ease the abuser's guilt. If the groom feels re-victimized by your presence, then the best thing OP can do is stay away and deal with their feelings without involving him. My husband rented his aunt's home before we got married. He signed a month-to-month lease when he moved in. I moved in with him after our marriage because the rent was cheap. My parents recently came to me asking if they could park their RV at our home. I didn't see a problem with this. Our yards are really big and there's space. Because of the city ordinance, the RV has to be parked in the backyard. There was no RV gate in the fence. My husband went to his aunt and asked if we could install an RV gate. His aunt said no. My husband relayed the message to me, and my parents seemed upset when I told them. 2 days ago, I came home from work and saw that my dad had a construction crew at our home and had removed part of the fence for the gate. There was an apple tree in the way, and they couldn't fit the RV in the yard. My husband, angry, told my dad not to continue, that they needed to repair the fence. At this point, I felt like it was pointless. The fence guys had already built the columns for the gate. It would cost a lot more money to rebuild the fence. I told my dad to finish the job, but make sure it was left super clean and that it looked nice. I planned on talking to the aunt later and explaining what had happened. I didn't know that my dad had told the guys to remove the tree. My husband's aunt came by, saw the tree cut down and started crying. She's refused to talk to my dad or me. When my husband came home, he found a 30-day notice on our door, terminating our lease. He tried to call his aunt and she didn't answer the phone. He then called my mother-in-law and she went to talk to our aunt. Later, I got several messages calling me an idiot for cutting down the aunt's late husband's tree. I had no idea he planted the tree. Now my husband and his whole family are really angry with me. I never told them to remove the tree. I feel like I'm being thrown under the bus. Am I the idiot here? You are the idiot for letting it continue when your husband said no. The aunt said no to the gate, and no is a complete sentence. Your parents removed a tree from a yard they don't own. How stupid and selfish of them. Everyone is the idiot besides your husband, his aunt, and his family. The aunt can hire a lawyer and sue your parents and the company who did it without her permission. And honestly, I hope she does. Tree law. That tree could easily be worth $150,000 in a lawsuit. They knowingly betrayed the aunt and planned on cutting down the tree. Was the plan just to apologize? Say oops? There's no way the aunt should have anything to do with her again. I'm glad I don't see any mention of children in this, because she's completely betrayed her husband and his family. Your dad is mostly the idiot. He started the gate, plus he ordered the tree to be removed. But why didn't you stop all of this as soon as you realized what was happening? You're the point of contact for your side of the family, so they blame you. You're going to have to own this one. Who are you married to, your father or your husband? Why did you not put your foot down with your father? I'm just sorry that your husband has to share the consequences of this. Because she knew what her parents were doing. She lied to her husband. She lied to her husband's aunt. And now she's lying to everyone. What's your end game, OP? You and your parents are in the wrong. Nothing is going to fix this. I feel so bad for your husband and his family. I don't see this marriage lasting. You'll probably make yourself really hard to get rid of once he decides to divorce you. My male 33, parents are deceased. I have a younger sister, 25, who's married and is expecting. I'm also married but don't have kids due to health issues on both sides. I'd visit and check on my sister from time to time. I'm not on great terms with her husband, 31, but we're civil to each other. She started calling and asking for my help more often since she got pregnant. I have no issue with this, but my brother-in-law thinks I'm being too involved in my sister and the baby's life. Last week, I got a call from my sister asking if I could take her to the doctor's office. It was a gender reveal appointment. I asked why her husband didn't take her, and she explained he was supposed to drive her, but he had to attend his mom's birthday and asked her to reschedule, but she refused. I took her to the appointment, but brother-in-law called and was furious, saying I shouldn't have gotten involved because now I'd cost him a precious moment in finding out if he was having a girl or a boy. Basically, I took this experience away from him, and he called me weird for being too involved in my sister's marriage and sticking my nose in it, to the point where I made the doctor think I was her husband. I told him the doctor thought I was her husband because of his absence and lack of commitment as a father. He blew up at me and I hung up on him. My wife said she gets that I want to help my sister out, but that I might have gone too far and should have respected brother-in-law's boundaries. So am I the idiot? Not the idiot. He blew up on you because he prioritized his mommy's birthday visit over his wife's appointment for her child's gender reveal? Lack of commitment as a father is one way to put it. I call it an entitled, spoiled mama's boy. I pity your sister for having a husband like that. She'll soon have 2 children to take care of. Good on you for being a great big brother. I can tell you're going to be a great uncle too. Keep it up. Your sister's going to need you. More than that, he sounds like an idiot who wants to isolate her from family. He calls the brother weird for being too involved with his sister so that he can make the brother pull away from the sister. He just got lucky she doesn't have parents she can rely on, so isolating her is easier. He had to attend to his mom's birthday and asked her to reschedule, but she refused. How did these 2 events, scheduled months in advance, end up overlapping? I'm just confused as to why the mother-in-law decided to have a birthday party sometime Monday through Friday before 5 p.m., because those are typical working hours for a clinic where ultrasounds would be done. I bet the mother-in-law's celebration was last minute. If a dude can't cut the cord by the time he's 30, he'll continue to have dysfunctional romantic relationships for a long time. It's admirable to stay close to family in a healthy way, but this ain't it. I'm married to my husband of 4 years, and we have kids similar in age to previous partners. My husband has a daughter, Susie, female 21, and I have a daughter, Lynn, female 21. This year, Lynn started her first year of university and is studying in another part of the country. She's gotten a loan to cover tuition, and I've sent Lynn some money to help her with living expenses. and she's planning on doing seasonal work over the holidays to get extra money. Susie has also started her second year of university in another part of the country. My husband has been sending her money regularly throughout her studies, and he pays her tuition. Recently, my husband came to me and said that Susie was struggling financially after having car problems and asked if I could pitch in and send her some money to help with expenses. We have a prenup and keep our finances separate, except for splitting rent and bills. I politely refused and asked if Susie had asked her mother to send her money. To clarify, her mother is and always was involved in her life. My husband got offended by my question and asked if I cared about helping out family members. He said it's only fair to send Susie money since I sent Lynn money. I pointed out that he doesn't send Lynn money. He said that Lynn wasn't struggling and got mad and accused me of playing favorites. I thought this was really out of the blue and told my husband that both Susie and Lynn have one parent that's financially helping them by sending them similar amounts of money, so it's not like their levels of support are really all that different. My husband didn't have it. He called me selfish and said that I'm being a garbage step-parent. Oh wow, not the idiot, but you need to find out where his money has gone. Based on what you've described, he should never have asked the question in the first place, and his reaction was way over the top. It's very common for people who know they're wrong to go on the offensive like this. It's also a bit worrying to me, unless OP left details out, why he's not being more upfront about why straightforward car troubles could leave his daughter struggling enough to ask the step-parent and not be able to be supported by either bio-parent. Seems off. Gambling? Addiction? The husband's hiding something. Are you sure your husband is financially stable? It sounds like he might be having financial troubles also. Maybe Susie's bad at handling finances. I would sit them down and have a convo. If you don't want to support her, that's fine. But if you do, maybe you could just buy her a grocery store card with like $100 a week tops, so you know she's being fed and your money's being used effectively. Based on the fact that his daughter's mother is still active in her life and that your husband doesn't send your daughter money, I believe you don't owe your stepdaughter anything. Point out that your daughter's taking out loans and works while he covers his daughter's tuition. He can't cover Susie's tuition, be okay with Lynn taking loans, and demands yet more money for Susie. That's insane. Thank God for the prenup.